morning, Abraham. Good morning, everyone. I've been pondering a quote lately. I cut it out and put it over my desk at work. It's by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. And it goes, "As for the future, your task is not to foresee it, but to enable it." And it kind of encapsulates a conundrum I've been thinking about lately between foreseeing the future, which is sort of my understanding of some of the Abraham teachings, and enabling the future, which is the world of action. And clearly to Saint-Exupéry, action was the most important. A lot of people in my generation believed that it was their task to enable the future, to create a better planet, a better country, to create a better. And for want of a better term, the vehicle to do that is sometimes called politics. Now, Abraham has said some very damning things about politics over time.
Oh, we never damn them.
Well,
we never damn them.
As a person who spent a lot of his adult life in the political world, I cannot disagree with any of them. Pushing against is kind of the nature of the beast in politics. It's part of the modus operandi of how things get done. Some years ago, and you mentioned this, I ran for public office. I actually ran for Congress from this district. And because I felt it was my task, my desire, my duty to enable the future, to build a better world. Pushing against, Abraham teaches us, is a pretty pointless pursuit. But lately I've been feeling the urge to go back into this hurly-burly world of politics. So my question is, how do I enter this world of pushing against without losing myself? And more importantly, how do I apply or adhere to the teachings of Abraham while my desire is to help, not the teachings of Abraham, and also the laws of the universe, when my desire is to help write the laws of man?
Well, you could not have been more articulate. And it might surprise you to hear us say that we have not even the slightest disagreement with anything that you just said, especially the quote that you began with today. We're going to give you just a little basis, a very short explanation of something, and then we're going to dive right into this, and you'll see how it all fits together.
Thank you.
And it is our absolute knowing that you will feel empowered by all of this and eager to jump in with all 4 feet.
I'm sorry, I just had this image of getting down on my hands and knees and crawling around in the muck.
Well, we've been watching the dogs. So, we've been describing this deliberate creative process as a 3-step process. The first step is explore the contrast. And that's part of what the political world is about. Yes. That exploring contrast is all part of the conversation. It's all part of the discussion. It's part of the solution. Because, first of all, you can't find a solution unless you have identified what your question or problem is. And there is certainly no expansion without knowing what you would like that is beyond what you have. So, step 1 is a very important part of the process. Humans get stuck in step 1 a lot. The second part of the 3-step process is the answer comes. In other words, when you ask, the answer comes. Well, that's the universe's response. That's source response. That's not man's role. But the third step in this 3-step process is you must, as the asker of the question, you must find a way to become the allower of the answer or the allower of the solution. And we think that this famous person, philosopher, who is offering this quote that you so eloquently described here, may very well be talking about that as the enabling. Because if you don't find vibrational alignment with what you want, you are not enabling. We are talking about realizing it. You must enable yourself to be the receiver or the allower of what life has caused you to know that you want, you see. So, certainly, in politics, there is a lot of pushing against. But can you imagine being in any sort of discussion with any sort of reasonable people? And we're not excluding Congress from that. Really, we are not. They are well-meaning. They are well-educated. They've had a lot of experience. And they, for the most part, have strong desire for the upliftment of the whole. That was dominantly the reason that they are participating there. But they are an exaggerated version of the human species in that they really are stuck in the step one. They have a sort of shortage consciousness where they are vying for resources and sort of squabbling over the resources that exist. So imagine a group of people coming together, reveling in the collective questions that arise as lots of people from lots of districts and lots of communities and lots of variety of lots of issues come together. Imagine the collective question that they are asking. Imagine the collective question that they have put into answer to the question that they've put into this vortex. Imagine what the solutions in that vortex must be with that sort of masterminding taking place. But you're right, and we are too. When we talk about them as a group pushing so hard against one another that they don't allow themselves the receiving of the answers that have already been spun to gold in this vortex. Now, it does not take many. In fact, it could be one. It does not take many to stand in that place of understanding how to allow. You cannot be one who is pushing against and be in the state of allowing at the same time. So understanding the process and applauding all of them for the positions that they stand in. There is nothing about politics that is outside these teachings. There is nothing about that quote that is outside of either. And recently, because we have been feeling this question burgeoning within so many, we've begun describing how it happens that things do manifest, that things do come from this vibrational reality that is completely disrespected is too strong of a word by our human friends, but you're not all that excited about the vibrational reality. You want the money where you can spend it, and you want your lovers in your bed. In other words, you want what you want. You want it in tangible form. So we've been describing that the vortex is spinning, and it's a vibrational version, and that unless you stop doing that thing you're doing, we describe the cork being held under the water. You let go of the cork, it'll bob right back to the surface, to the high energy. You hold it under the water, that's more of that pushing against or defending or justifying or blaming, condemning, complaining. All of that holds your cork under the water and makes you oblivious to the answers that really would be available to you in the moment that you would stop doing it. So when you understand that the answers are already there, and not just vague answers, specifically well-formulated answers, solutions, bright lights, pathways that would be lighted up for anyone who has the ability to see them. So all of that is spinning in the vortex. And when anyone meditates for enough time that they are able to train their vibration upward, or finds enough things that they are doing that is training their vibration upward so that it is consistently upward. When you have a consistent vibration that is up there with the vibration of the source within you and with the vortex, the vibration of the vortex, the content of the vortex just flows easily into your point of attraction. And that point of attraction is what we've been calling the grid. Now, very often, when that vibrational reality flows into your grid where it can be realized, it comes in the form of an idea. It comes in the form of an impulse to act. And this is what this philosopher is talking about. In other words, you must enable the ideas. You must be in the vibrational frequency where you can receive the idea, the impulse to act. We are certainly not teaching inaction, but we are teaching getting into the vortex or becoming a vibrational equivalent to the vortex so that the action is inspired action. And we, like you, see Congress primarily in a place of acting without inspiration. They are not acting from their alignment. They're acting from their defensiveness. They're acting from their worry. They're acting from their shortage consciousness. It will require, for that inspired sort of action, the likes of which this high-minded philosopher that you are quoting was understanding. And there are so many people, many of them in Congress, that understand this too. But there's something about getting together with a group of others who are scrambling for resources, who are so shortage-oriented. It's not easy to maintain your stability in an environment like that, when there's a sort of scrambling around, fighting over the spoils. It's not easy to stay in that high-minded place. And that's what we mean when we say you've got to get out ahead of it vibrationally. You've got to accept them as they are, not condemn them as they are, not push against them as they are, but understand them as they are. And understand that within every wonderful forum are opposing points of view. And those opposing points of view are the strength and balance, because diversity is what puts everything that is wonderful in this vibrational reality. It's all necessary before anything can come about. So all you have to ask yourself is, as a person participating on the inside or the outside of that congressional body, you just have to ask yourself, how stable can I be in this environment? Because we want you to understand, you all can do as much from outside that body as you can from inside that body. In fact, you are more likely to receive the inspiration from outside. The ideas will flow to you, you see. Actually, it's not such a bad thing that your government is paralyzed. It does less dumb things. Because they are not the point of your attraction. You are the point of your attraction, you see. But you cannot allow wonderful things to flow to you if you are pushing against them or anyone, you see.
I just imagine the subversion of an Abraham-Hamster in the halls of Congress and the wonderful damage that can be done with an enlightened point of view.
Already there, and in far more places than the halls of Congress.
Surely.
In other words,
surely.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. You hear it mostly in car commercials, but it's everywhere.
I understand.
It's everywhere, you see.
I just wanted to add something. Being a candidate is different than actually winning. When there's two parts to it. Candidacy in politics has always appealed to me because it forces you to focus. And as a candidate, you're kind of forced to focus on the best person that you can be. And in life, I tend to get a little lazy, and I could be a bit of a jerk from time to time. But as a candidate, I'm forced to focus on as good and as focused and as open as I can be. And it's a great training ground for the humanity, for the rest of my humanity.
We can give you a better one, better training ground. You want to win?
I expect to this time.
Then, rather than focusing on the best that you can be, just be it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
But focus upon the best that they can be, the most that they can receive, the best situation for them. Give your undivided attention to the well-being of those you seek to assist, and they will not miss that, you see.
Wonderful.
If you care, as you explain, I've been there before and thought I would never come back, but now I want to come back because you've inspired me more than ever before, because I can feel the power and the clarity and the brilliance of that which is you. And I think it's time for you to have obstacles moved out of your way so that you can shine bright in the way that you've intended to shine bright. And I know that there is a way to carve a path. I also know that in every environment, whether it is your world environment at large, you're saying to those who are listening to you, but even in the political environment, as Congress people are moving around the halls, that there is always a path of least resistance. And that's what really good politicians find. As a body, we stir a lot up. You all know that. But in stirring it up, we ask the big questions. We ask the important questions. And then it's our job, it's my job, I see it as my job to understand what you want and to understand what is possible and to do my best to carve out the path that will help you get to where you want to be with the least amount of trouble. And I'm really, 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 really good at that. I was good at it before, but I'm better at it now, you see. And as they hear you speaking in general terms, try to stay out of the specifics of it if you can, just for a little while. Speak in general terms of the exhilaration you feel in being a partner, a co-creative partner with them, in helping them to find the results that they are looking for. And applaud them for the lives that they've been living and for the clarity that they've brought forth. And applaud the other people on the ballots, the other people already in the office. In other words, in your understanding of what it's like, we are all in there together. We are all in this together. We are all doing, and even though it may not seem it, and you may want to hold this until a little later in your campaign, but it's an important thing to say. We are all well-intentioned. We are all well-intentioned. We are all well-intentioned. And I believe, you can tell them, that it's time for us to begin to be more across-the-board receivers of what we have all been asking for. And there isn't one of them that will not resonate with that. And they will look at you and they will think, that guy must be nuts, because he seems so clear-minded in this crazy, chaotic world. But you will stand as the clarity that they all believe must be there. Everyone out there is looking for the solution to problems. And when you stand there in your solution-oriented attitude rather than in your problem-infested attitude, they'll feel it, you see. Not all of them, but enough of them.
That is the best political, spiritual advice I've ever heard. Thank you.